Well, everybody, the unthinkable has happened. No, Jennifer Lawrence hasn't responded to my DMs. Nearly 3 years after the announcement of Pokemon TCG Live, the dev has finally given us a list of the tracked issues. And oh boy, does it show just how many things are wrong with the game. Now, it seems like for every improvement to TCG Live, it was already a thing in PTCGO, and that's true again here. The Pokemon Company nuked the PTCGO forums, but I was able to find a previous known issues thread thanks to the Wayback Machine. And yes, PTCGO had its fair share of problems, but they give us an updated list with every patch telling us what they were working on. And most importantly, would fix those issues in a matter of days or weeks, whereas in PTCGL it's commonly months or years. So yes, telling us everything wrong with PTCGL after all this time is a step in the right direction, but it doesn't really matter if the fixes aren't happening until 2025 or 2026. Nearly 70 problems were posted on the tracked issues page, though the Pokemon Company notes that this isn't a complete list of everything being tracked or worked on, but a list of issues reported here on our forums, online, and through our support team. Basically, there's a lot more issues with Live, but at least we have confirmation that all of our reports are being tracked rather than tossed into the void and ignored. First up, there's a few incoming fixes for cards that were introduced with Shroud of Fable on August 1st. It's worth noting that these won't be included with the patch going live on Tuesday that adds Stellar Crown support and fixes the Infinite V-Star power glitch. No, these will likely be added in an October patch or maybe even rolled into the November patch for Surging Sparks. The main one is the interaction with Neutralization Zone in Roaring Moon EX. Neutralization Zone is supposed to stop the damage Calamity Storm deals first, then the stadium is supposed to be discarded. But PTCGL handles this interaction incorrectly, allowing Calamity Storm to hit a non-rule box Pokemon. Additionally, Malamar has never worked properly. Even if you played Xerosix Machinations that turn, Malamar's Colluding Tentacles attack would simply fail and you'd pass the turn. I post PTCGL issues like this on Twitter what seems like daily, and with Stellar Crown coming out this week, expect my feed to be filled with new ones. There's a few other incoming fixes that should improve overall stability, as well as issues with sound effects either being audible or not being audible after restarting. Oh, and the internal name for checking status effects on your Pokemon is called the Status Effect Drawer. I learned that piece of useless information today, and now you have as well. Switching over to the known issues that don't have a targeted date for fixing, in the general section, apparently we're supposed to receive a notification when someone disconnects or reconnects from a match. I don't know if this will fix the underlying issue of players disconnecting or the client freezing someone out of a match, but at least knowing what's going on will be a plus. On the stability side, there's two major known issues. I thought this was addressed previously, but apparently you can still queue up against more than one opponent at a time. As you'd expect, this causes problems. Additionally, they're aware of significant device overheating when playing live on certain devices. Phones overheating is a day one issue, and while they have alleviated the problem for some people in the last year or so, it's still far more widespread than it should be. Now we move to card logic, a section so big that I have to split it up into two parts. If you've ever thought I'm being too harsh on TCG Live, let's take a look at the first card listed in this section, Solgaleo GX. The GX attack clearly says you can accelerate up to 5 energy cards from deck, including special energy. It's somewhat important for a Mewtwo and Mew GX deck as it allows you to grab whatever special or basic energy you might need. But the issue on PTCGL is that Soul Burst GX doesn't allow you to get special energy. Okay, fine, simple coding error. Surely this must have been a recently reported issue, right? Well, the first report I could find on the forums was from January 2023. Then it was reported again in July 2023 and again in September 2023. Yet in September 2024, it's still just a known issue with no estimated fix date. Elsewhere in this section, there's some mostly inconsequential things like Torracat's Gritty Claws attack shown as an ability, and the AI being able to attach to 2 different Pokemon with Archeops' Primal Turbo when testing a deck. But then we have bigger problems like Bibarel being unable to use its ability to draw cards when you have less than 5 cards in deck. PTCGL has always had random issues interacting with your deck when you have a low number of cards. If you've ever played a draw supporter or Ultra Ball with 0 cards in deck causing the game to freeze completely, you know what I mean. We recently saw this problem with Great Tusk not milling the extra cards when you had 4 cards or less in your deck, though that was eventually fixed. Unfortunately, there was no mention of that overall game-breaking bug with 0 cards in deck, which means it will continue to affect players. Another important issue is Dialga V-Star's Star Chronos. It specifically says that you skip Pokemon checkup between turns. But PTCGL doesn't skip Pokemon checkup, so someone like Frostlass will spread damage counters when it shouldn't, or something like poison damage will still occur. I found a report about this going back to May. Moving to page 2, it's almost all cards from Sun and Moon. So if you're wondering why we're still waiting for Black and White and X and Y cards and GLC and expanded friend battles so we can play GLC after nearly 3 years, this laundry list of problems should give you an answer. Nothing's too crazy, though they are aware of V-Union Pokemon getting yeeted when energy is discarded from them. You know, totally normal stuff you'd expect from a functioning client. While it's not a fix, or even a timeline for a fix, after more than 2.5 years of existence, the dev is aware that PTCGL sometimes just won't let you take a card from the deck. They specifically highlight Nest Ball and Heavy Ball, but the issue can affect any card that searches the deck and asks you to select something. Notably, they don't say why this occurs, just that they know it does. And as someone who's lost several games because of this, it'd be great if it was addressed before Live's 3rd anniversary in February. Piggybacking on that earlier notification we're supposed to receive when a player disconnects or reconnects, the dev is aware that disconnecting and reconnecting may prevent you from doing anything. Now, I'm not saying Canadian internet is perfect, but if I'm streaming without dropping a single frame yet PTCGL is disconnecting me, the issue isn't my internet. I could spend a long time focusing on a lot more of these issues, but in the interest of speeding things along, apparently it's a bug, not a feature, that the test deck AI can use expanded cards when you're testing standard decks. I think this has been going on ever since the first rotation on Live, and it's just another problem you can experience when testing a deck. To try and balance out the negativity prevalent in this video, I will let you know that you can test a deck on PTCGL without owning all of the cards. The AI will try to deck itself out before ever taking a prize or even attacking, but it's something you can do if you want. Additionally, something that's been going on for a very long time is avatars simply facing the wrong direction when in battle. According to the dev, the reason for this is continuously pressing on the ranked ladder badge when loading into a match. Oh, and if you've never moved the emote wheel, there's a secret 6 sadness emote if you really want to convey what playing PTCGL is like. I perused the rest of the known issues, and thankfully they didn't say anything about the naked avatar glitch that's been in Live since day 1, so that is definitely a feature, not a bug. The last couple of sections have to do with the battle log, login, battle pass, and decks. The battle log stuff doesn't affect much of anything, and they're aware of login issues when attempting to log into the game, but refrain from giving specifics. For the battle pass, they know that some new players can't claim the Battle the Professor quest, and others can't purchase the premium pass, which you should always buy. Seriously, if you have 600 crystals and don't own the premium battle pass, change that immediately. Finally, and this is something I've experienced since day 1, but sometimes PTCGL just fails to give you a card when you spend credits to craft it. It rarely happens nowadays, but in an odd twist, apparently the devs call credits dust. That's weird because we've been asking to dust our unwanted cards since launch. I think I'm starting to rub off on them. I know it might seem like I'm being way too pessimistic when it comes to TCG Live, but you have to remember, I've been playing this game since day 1, which was more than 2.5 years ago. And I've put up with an endless stream of issues, including matchmaking just not working for weeks at a time, major interactions breaking the game for weeks at a time, and auto-win glitches existing for days at a time. If you go back 2+ years, I was super optimistic about Live. But then the Pokemon Go set came out and it was the straw that broke the Nummel's back. I just couldn't defend it anymore. There's only so many times they could pull that football away at the last second before I stopped trying to kick it. And if you understood that reference, you're probably a boomer. Don't get me wrong, I want TCG Live to be amazing. But instead of fixing everything, they're simply telling us everything wrong with the game, which isn't even everything wrong with the game, like the newly discovered Salvatore glitch, while telling us they're working hard to resolve the issues yet not giving timelines. And before they fix everything wrong with Live, they're giving us a brand new Pokemon TCG client filled with microtransactions, which is out literally next month. And if you want a really sad fact, when Pocket launches on October 30th, there will be 2 different ways to play the Pokemon TCG digitally. Yet neither of them will support Expanded or GLC. I've said this before and I'll say it again. PTCGO should have been the starting line for PTCGL, not the 5-year plan. Until Live is at the same level as PTCGO, I just can't have a positive outlook about it, and that hurts to say.